There, welcome back to Let's Suffer Together. I'm Suffer, back with the Undermine Relic tier list for Undermine. Back with Priskip. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right today.
Back with Headwound also. What's cracking,
Hey
my dude?
guys,
Hey,
it's going great.
we're probably going to alter a few relics here and there. We've already discussed a few relics that might potentially get moved around, so it's always worth watching if you disagree with us to see if it gets placed in a different area. Also, in the comments section, if you've got any thoughts about a relic, you could change our minds as this process goes along as well. We're open to all consideration. That's why we're doing it as more of a podcast as well, so we can get all our thoughts and we can change each other's mind. So get involved in the comment section. We'd love to hear from you. But let's get started with Priskip and...
Yes. First one for today is the Shadow's Fang. Increases critical strike chance by 50%. Does not increase critical hit damage. So, this is one of those type of relics that it does exactly what it says on the tin. It just increases your likelihood to crit. Fantastic with relics or blessings that already increase your critical strike chance or critical strike damage. Yeah, it's just all around nice for helping you pump up some damage numbers. Your thoughts, guys?
in combination of Dylan's Claw yesterday, the final relic we analysed in yesterday's video. Dylan's Claw in combination with Shadow Fang, increasing the actual chance to crit in the first place, along with the extra damage. Of course, seeing Shadow Fang from an isolated position, even that having the extra critical damage, which is 150% of your base damage, is excellent. It's one of the best ways of pumping out extra damage early game. Not an automatic unlock, however. So that should be taken into consideration. You will have to find this one. And I not demand, that's not the right word. I implore you to go out and hunt this one down because it's a nice staple of any Undermine run when you get used to it, when you get it in your loadout. It feels right at home straight away. Headwound.
Exactly. I mean, with this one, you think about Twisted Blade. Twisted Blade has an unlock cost of 30 in comparison, and it requires that you obtain curses in order for you to actually increase your crit chance. This one, you get immediate reaction, 50% plus on your crit chance. That is incredible. Once you unlock this one and you start unlocking some blessings that help with that crit, it just, wow, it changes the damage of the game. Like if you went through the entire game and did not have the additional crit chance, as you raise yourself through those summoning stones levels, this is what's going to get you to those damage levels that you need. Now, granted, when you get really high, like in the hundreds of summoning stones, there is an additional blessing that you will need kind of to help that out. But this, upon itself, I find it very rare that I will not take this.
I believe there is a correction that may need to be made. I do believe I heard that this was a 25% increase instead of a 50% increase. I believe someone told me that once, and every time I've picked up blessings since, trying to figure out if I can get 100% crit chance through the blessing crit chance, I always seem to get 15 and then Shadowfang, and then it seems to crit all the time, but getting 10 blessing, because the blessings each are 5% from what I understand. You have your base crit chance, but
yeah,
obviously trying to make up 100% through relic or blessings is the way forward, and just ignore your own base chance. But 50% always did seem a little high. Like 50% crit chance every other swing is going to be a crit. It didn't feel like it to me. So 25% felt, when someone said that, I really kind of bought into it.
Yeah, you know what?
I could test it, but the math for that is pretty difficult.
Yeah, the
Won't go
number
into
of
detail.
the number of strikes that you would have to make in order to gather enough data to figure out whether or not you got that exact 50% is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, I won't go into the detail for the maths for that, but yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, and by the way, speaking of the updating of the wiki and getting this to be more accurate, we had some incredible news today.
We did. Oh man, it was dropped today in the tweet from Undermine that on August the 8th, We are getting a full release version of the game. We get a conclusion to the story. We've been following along for many, many months now. But what's your thoughts on the release, guys?
I am very excited. I took a look at some of the notes from the release, and they're making a lot of fixes. We're getting a new a final boss. We're getting some new relics and some new items. We're getting some tweaks to the different items within the game, and there's so many changes that it would be impossible without an actual detailed list to kind of go through everything. Let's just say that the game is coming around and the developers are listening to everybody and making the changes that will ultimately make this one of the best roguelike games that is out there.
I'm looking forward to see if they take a look at some of the relics that we've put rather lowly on our list and potentially give them some buffs like Aphotic Charm or Celt's Egg.
It's an interesting discussion because in roguelike games, or roguelike games, you always need bad items. It's just the way it's always been that this is why tier lists exist, because it's just a natural course of making good builds in games paradoxically requires you to have bad items to choose from in the first place. To make it a challenge all the time to create a build. You just had good items, and you just every time you go into a relic room, you're smiling, and that's not really gaming. That's just being handed to you all the time. So, any changes that are made, I think they'll always keep that balance in mind. It's something they've always tweaked successfully. In the most part, they've made some really good positive changes throughout the early access. Some that I've been super happy with and just super on board with. Mainly boss damage and health changes across the board in Summoning Stones. But again, full trust to the devs.
Shadows Fang, where are we going to put this, guys?
I think it belongs right next to the claws.
That's what I was thinking.
I think so too.
It's so similar in...
Yeah,
it's the exact same amount of happiness as soon as you see both of them. As soon as you go into a room. Sometimes you'll be specifically looking for the crit chance, but I always feel like you get the exact same feeling out of Dylan's Claws or Shadowfang. They're just inseparable.
Yep. They just pair so well together.
I think that's an easy pairing. I think it's the easiest pairing we'll have. Those two kind of have to stick together unless some refined arguments come to take place, but I don't have any. So.
Yeah. Well, next up, we have one of the most controversial relics in the game.
Controversial implies there is a debate about the issue when there just isn't.
Well, okay, so that was meant semi as a joke,
of course,
in that it comes between galoshes or Bramble Vest. Which one of these you're going to put on the pedestal of shame?
Which one are you going to ignore faster?
Yeah, exactly. But with that being said, this one actually has a purpose early on in your runs. Whenever you take damage, it will cause a spray of daggers that are fired out from your body to a certain distance. And if you're finding yourself in a difficult situation where a lot of spiders or whatever are in the room and they're getting close and you're being backed up to the edge of a chasm, this may be one that gives you that extra damage, so that next swipe that you make kills everything that's next to you. So it's not worthless early on, but in later summoning stones, this thing pretty much becomes worthless.
It has the major problem of having that kind of spray of daggers from the center, which is a proximity-based attack. If it was just blanket damage, say you got damaged, and then it returns fire to the room. If it was the entire room, I'd have no problem with it. But it's so specific. It's so proximity-based. Yeah, you get damage from close enemy contact all the time, but when you're trying to build something, if you ever take a relic with the intention of it, you having to get hit for it to work, that's just bad philosophy in building, in my opinion. In roguelike games across the board, it's always been a common thing in roguelike games. If you build for that reason, you're possibly stretching into a negative philosophy build. Because you're thinking that you either use it as a safety net, or you're thinking about getting hit in the first place. And it's like 1 HP in a dream. All you need is 1 HP. Why do you think that's kind of a popular phrase? It's more of a philosophy than anything else in roguelike communities.
Priskip?
For the most part, anytime I've gone into a relic room or a shop and I've seen Bramble Vest, my immediate reaction is, well, Bramble Vest. For me, it's transmutation fodder. I will transmute this any chance I get.
Absolutely.
I just don't find that it has very much of a use for me at higher summoning stones, because the damage it does return, it's not that much, and the enemies damage you so much at the high summoning stones that you just don't want to get hit. Like Suffer said, you shouldn't plan around getting hit, because at especially at high summoning stones, you get hit like 3 times, sometimes even only twice or even once, you die. It's not that great.
Not to be condescending, but these are like training wheels. When you first start playing the game, they're automatically unlocked. It'll help you survive a little bit longer, and then you'll have no longer use for it outside of Undermine, which it has a relative use in Undermine, but we're not talking about that. So my immediate reaction was void of Undermine content towards it. It's hot garbage.
Yeah, no,
Basically.
I absolutely. This is a D for me.
Yeah.
Just because
it doesn't hurt you,
it requires that you take damage.
Yeah, that's always the big no. In my opinion, it would be. I don't see how a Bramble Vest could exist without taking damage, for one.
Yeah, exactly.
The concept.
Maybe if you just walk into something, it makes something take damage.
I saying that in Isaac, there is actually builds based on that. Proper functional builds, but you can't make this a functional build in and of itself. It's not a tactic. It's not anything that's going to improve your build philosophy, possibly, of how you want to go and learn the game. Getting hit is always negative.
Yeah, the only way I could possibly see that type of build working is if you had Soul's Phoenix and a whole bunch of hardiness or just heal over time effects. But even then, that's kind of sketchy.
Especially when you come into a boss fight.
Yeah.
That's right.
Gonna rip you to bits.
Ponzu will laugh at you.
Especially when you got ads and you have to maintain that proximity all the time. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
But moving on, away from the Bramble Vest, we head into the realm of Duplicator. Duplicator, when you pick it up for every relic room thereafter, you'll be offered 2 relics, which you will only be able to choose from one. The other relic you will never be able to find again. It's it's one of those that I've seen used. I've used it myself. I've had my own experiences with this. I always, at the end of the day, regret picking it up due to the fact that you lose relics constantly. You're forced to make decisions across 2 relics. Now, if you want to learn how to make decisions, this is the perfect relic for you. But if you want to do things properly, what you do is you transmute relics you don't want and disregard that way, instead of using a duplicator to disregard forcibly. So, with that in mind, Headwound, would you like to explain your philosophy for why the duplicator is the best thing since sliced bread?
All right. Duplicator. I am a huge fan of this because it teaches you which relics are mentally going to be more important for you and your style of runs. So rather than you going through the entire game, hoping that you get those relics and hoping that you find the RNG to kind of push forward, this increases your RNG in going through the relic pool to find the items that you need. Now, it's going to have you pick very carefully in some cases. You could be presented with a keyblade and a master's pickaxe right next to each other. And then which one are you going to choose? This, for me, enhances the roguelike experience in that I have to make those choices. And I love that. I love that about this relic.
There are two ways of playing the game in that instance, and it is down to personal feelings on the matter, where I actively like pushing the RNG and transmute options and literally almost dying for it to get what I want, and making sure I get through the RNG of the game through other means that I don't miss out on, because it depends how you're feeling that day sometimes, but you might want to take something that you wouldn't normally take, and say you were offered two things across from each other, one powerful and one less so, you might still regret not taking the one and never being able to get the one that you felt like taking that day. So there's dichotomy there between two different run styles, and you're never going to find duplicator at the start of a run all the time, so it is one of those you can have unlocked and enjoy when necessary. I don't hate it, it's just that it's not down to my personal style of play. But Priskip, what do you think, man?
I kind of fall in the middle of you two. I do enjoy the duplicator when I find it, although sometimes I don't. It really depends on what type of run I have going and whether or not I choose to pick it up. There'll be some times where I'm relying more so on the relics, and I feel like having that extra choice would be very beneficial to me. And then there are other times where I'd rather not have that choice and try to find all the relics in the game. For me, it's just kind of a toss-up between whether I pick it or not. I wouldn't say it's awful, but it certainly does force you to make choices that sometimes you don't want to make. But yeah, as far as I would rank it, I'd rank it. I'd rank it probably somewhere either the. It's tough to say.
So,
Like, it doesn't really compare to any of the other relics.
so with this one, and I'll just say, I don't think this is an A ranked item, nor do
Nah.
I think this is a C ranked item. I think this, for me and my style of play and my desire to open up new relics and challenge myself by having those choices and pushing the RNG, it's a B plus for me.
Hmm.
It does push the RNG, but just in a different manner than,
Yeah.
and that's never
It,
to be ignored. Again, it does add it's like what was Sun Eater presenting a new way to play the game, essentially,
oh yeah.
which had value, and I saw that value and gave it a higher ranking because of that. So I can't, even though Duplicator isn't unlocked on my fresh save. I did get a little play around with it on my old save, but I do see its value, and it has paid out. You know, it does push forward the RNG of the game. It can make you better builds. It can generally pay out really well and offer you really, really good combinations of items to take. Like, you can offer your Keyblade and some of the hot garbage you would have ignored anyway. But you're stuck with it. There's no getting rid of it once you've taken it. It's not a toggle. You can't turn it on and off. But it definitely allows you to fast forward with a price. But that price is for an individual to accept or not. So I can't blame it for that. And B+.
Yeah, that seems about right. I was thinking I didn't feel comfortable putting it in the A's. I didn't think it was bad, but I was thinking somewhere in the B's. B plus seems pretty good.
Yeah, the only reason I kind of, I mean, I knew this was going to be at least a B plus, but I went through all of the negatives about this and the negatives that I've experienced, which is you get two relics. They're hot garbage. You have a transformation potion, you use it, and you get Gordon's tunic and battle standard, or lava boots and breastplate.
Oof.
Taking out the high tiers both, and that can continue to happen throughout a run. You can just get awkward combinations, especially say your run is you need two things, and that's why you picked up Duplicator for two things, and you need them for your run. You then get those two things the very next room, the very next relic room. It can have that effect, but it does offer good odds as well.
Yeah,
Mhm.
indeed. And I love that. Like, give me a Dylan's Claw and a Shadow Fang as my choices. I love that because it's like it's the game beating you back, and it's like, okay, I see where you're going. Oh, I'm on. Okay.
All right.
All right. What's up next?
Oof.
Well, if you thought Sonic Boom was amazing, wait
Woo!
till you see the Hyperstone. This little crazy guy increases your swing speed. It's like Sonic Boom, but for swing. It is fantastic. It just instantly makes your swing super fast. It's like drinking the swing speed potion. That the yellow one, I forget what its technical name is, but it's the yellow vial potion. It increases your swing speed, but this thing is permanent. It is fantastic. I love this one. My only complaint is that it is really rare. It's tough to find at times.
I like how we're on a wiki and we can't find a potion name. Sorry, I just found that really funny.
Well, I could
It was
find
a
what
little
it is.
ironic, but Hyperstone is just, again, happy smiles. You're having a good time when you find Hyperstone. Any good build is usually based off good swing speed. Alacrity Serum, beautiful.
Yeah, no wonder I didn't remember that name.
Yeah, exactly. No shame there. But the Hyperstone is always pleasant to find. It always impacts a run. Rare, you unlock it, but 50% on your base swing speed. If you have blessings already for your swing speed, it always seems to work in conjunction with those as well to just increase it even more and take it to insane levels. So Hyperstone it's a rocket ship, and it'll impact your run so deeply. And if with a bit of cleave pushing enemies back, no enemy will be able to get close to you. Definitely one you should be unlocking as soon as possible, taking advantage of.
And I think this is also I'm full on board with this relic. It also is the one relic that helps increase the maximum that you can obtain from a potion or blessing alternative. So even if you have like the maximum number of blessings for swing speed and you have a potion for swing speed, this will actually bump it up even more and make boss fights so much more fun and manageable. I love this thing. Couldn't speak higher of this one.
Mm-hmm.
But where to place it? That's the tricky question because of its impact on a run, but it is only a singular thing. How much does that singular swing speed increase impact on a run overall?
For me, it's either an A plus or an S.
It does not. Okay, so I'm going to look at the negatives on this one. What does it not do? It does not alter your alternative damage method, which means the throw. So because of that, I'm not going to put it as a P. But it's still like when it comes down to the relics that will increase your chance and remove the possibility of you not being able to kill the boss fast enough, because the faster that you can kill a boss or things in the room, the better chance of you continuing on. So for me, this is an S relic.
It's a definite confidence booster, but I see it in the same light as Vorpal. Could you argue? What would you take, Hyperstone or Vorpal? It's one of those.
Hyperstone.
I know what you mean there, and
I would probably take the Hyperstone as well.
It does have benefits beyond the Vorpal, but also Vorpal has benefits beyond Hyperstone, and so would Pillow. And potentially Sunita. Sunita is a singular job. Well, I suppose Sunita takes away a lot to give you a lot. Hyperstone doesn't ask for anything to improve your run dramatically. So I suppose it does have a place in the S tier. But Vorpal is looking at me there. But does Vorpal improve your swing speed as much as a Hyperstone?
No.
Not really.
I'd argue
No.
that you could, with a Vorpal, go into a room and clear it faster than a man with a Hyperstone with the same base damage and stats. Because of the double swing, kill one with... If you majority of the time, killed your enemy with a double swing. With the maneuverability as well, it gives you. Of course, with the Hyperstone, it doesn't alter your swing, so you're still stopping when you're swinging. You're slowing down, sorry. So, it doesn't offer a dramatic alteration. Like
Hyperstone.
I mean, it's one of those, does it offer a dramatic alteration like Master Pickaxe, for instance, which we're comparing this to? Or even Keyblade and the heights you can get to that? Or with Holy Guacamole and Devotion, which combine, well, even singularly, can give you literally everything in terms of the blessing commodities. Or even protection with the Gordon's Tunic, it's offering multiple levels of protection. The shop, the simple chest, is giving you so much different combinations of stuff from the shop. It's giving you relics, it's giving you potions, it's giving you basic items, food. This is only giving you one thing. And do we have, apart from a single dramatic change, do we have anything on the S tier that is a singular benefit?
Well, we have to take a look at, like, Master Pickaxe is a projectile.
A projectile. for swing.
Keyblade is swing only, not throw.
But what I'm talking about is the advantage it can give you fighting rooms and boss fights. With Master Pickaxe, it gives you the advantage of transforming your swing to get extra damage and be anywhere in the room to obtain that damage. So you're gaining safety and you're gaining extra damage. It's a multi-layered advantage, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
Keyblade just
I see what you're
sheerly
saying.
gets to S because of straight damage, and it's the only realistic way of getting that damage without taking on major curse.
Yeah.
Everything else has a multi-dynamic layer of greatness.
Yeah.
I'm not sure Hyperstone does.
I would mirror that and also say that, like I said, it doesn't do anything for your throw. And by itself, it is a great benefit. It gives you no pauses between your swings like Vorpal does, but it gives you a lot of capability, similar to what Vorpal does.
That's the one. I think it's top of the A+. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it's that Vorpal in the A+ as well that's making me think they're relatively similar, and in some ways Vorpal is better. While everything on the S tier I can think about, and it has a multi-dynamic approach of benefit, where Hyperstone doesn't. It's just single swing speed, which, don't get me wrong, is bitchin'. It's like Pillow. You just get a massive lump of one benefit. Protection.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crossover with swing speed.
I think that's a great way of putting it. It doesn't, like, we take a look at Vorpal, which gives you a quick double swing at a parabolic arc, which gives you distance, but there's negatives that also occur with it, which that's why we kind of put it in A+ section instead of like an S. But then, Breastplate has a positive and a negative. Once it's removed once, you have to renew it. Pillow, it doesn't block everything, only physical damage. Hyperstone does not extend your swing distance. It doesn't give you throw speed in addition. It doesn't increase the amount of damage you do, although with the faster swing, it effectively kind of does increase the damage. So I think an A+ is a comfortable way to put this. And we may actually look at this later on. Yeah.
Absolutely willing to reassess it as we build. Comparing it to other A+, how it grows. Absolutely.
For me,
it's a really tricky one.
Yeah, for me, I could see it being in the A+ tier because unlike a lot of the S's that we have put on the board, it doesn't really change the entire dynamic of the run as much as getting one of those 6 up there. It usually slots in really nice in the run that you have built up so far.
Beautiful.
Yep.
All right.
Moving
on to Miner's Flask. Miner's Flask is Miner's Flask is already available when you start the game. So you get it automatically. What's great about Miner's Flask is it extends the effect time of any potions that have a duration applied to it. It does that by making sure it's at that right temperature that's perfect for those potions. You also get a free potion the immediate moment that you pick it up. Now, granted, you only get one potion and it doesn't, do anything else. But this is just a beautiful, especially with certain, with a specific familiar. This is amazing. I just love this because when you pick it up, you get that extended time for potions, which could make the potions that you get more valuable for boss fights and for giving you longevity, giving you giving you a better increase of your stats, return more of your health back versus other things. So this is for me an all around really good balanced relic. Thoughts?
I love this thing. I used to hate it, but I've really grown to like it. For me, when I was first starting playing the game, the potion duration was fairly short, and I didn't really see the benefit of potions. Boy, how naive I was back then. But as I've grown and played this game, I've realized that potions can provide you a tremendous benefit for clearing rooms, fighting bosses, just healing up sometimes with the Troll Sweat potion. Potions are fantastic. I think they're the best thing in this game, obviously because that's what I base my entire strategy around. But just having extra potion duration will give you that extra time that you need on your potions to help you kill some of the bosses that start to take longer and longer the higher and higher the summoning stones that you get. It's fantastic. I love this thing.
Yeah, think about it. This allows you to win runs you have no right to win. Simple as. You pick it up. I have never once refused this, I think. I might have. I might have accidentally destroyed it. I might have actually been looking for something very specific late game. But in general, Minus Flask is something you always take because you know it has that potential with the right combination of moving forward and RNG. And if you're transmuting in the shop, so you just get lucky in a good shop, that it can set you up so well for a boss fight. It can help you heal. It can help you in any aspect in any potion that has a duration effect. And that duration effect is so significant because often potions without Minus Flask will run out before a boss fight ends. With Minus Flask, you normally kill the boss before the potion runs out. So you get that confidence, you get that boost throughout, knowing you've got Minus Flask in your back pocket for any potion you buy in the next floors. Moving on.
Yeah.
It's it's so confidence inspiring.
Yeah.
And
No.
I will say one thing: if you get biscuits and you have Miner's Flask, that thing lasts
Oof,
forever.
it really
It is
does.
so long after the buff in Golden Core to potion or to the duration of the biscuits potion. It is fantastic. Like, I don't run Sylph very often, but sometimes you can even get through 2 floors and still and be able to hit 2 shrines on 2 floors with one biscuits potion, which is fantastic for getting Sylph the level up.
This is a great relic because it covers all summoning stone levels. From the first ones that you get a miner's flask, and you get the gold potion. I think it's called Ugly Syrian or
A
something like
glycerin,
that.
a glycerin
Glycerin.
potion.
And then all of a sudden you have a massive amount of gold on the ground, and you've just started to build your income, expanding your gameplay. Then you're building up your you're increasing your potion duration for the for biscuits, which means that your familiar is going to start leveling up more, and that increases your possibility of getting more gold with the canary. And it's just there's so many great advantages to this. Now, granted, the one disadvantage that it has, or the one thing it can't do, is it can't increase a duration for a potion that has no duration, like a secret shop, or something of that sort where it has an instantaneous benefit, like a single heal. Those type of items are not going to see any benefits from Miner's Fast, but I think this is an absolutely great relic throughout every single summoning stone. Where are we going to put this, guys?
Definitely upper A's. Yeah, definitely upper A's in my opinion. I would probably put it. It's a tough one. I would probably put it in the A+ tier.
With its ability to cross from the start of the game to Summoning Stone, blah blah blah, into the hundreds, it's never let me down. It's always pushed me forward. It's just again, it's a rocket ship of a relic that just gives you such high potential.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One day I
so
picked
common
this
as
thing
well.
up. Yeah, one day I picked this thing up and the random potion that popped out was an all potion, and I'm like, oh, it was nuts. But yeah, I love this thing.
Indeed. A+. Right on. Love it.
Yep.
Yeah, I think A+, maybe even an S, but I'll reassess.
Yeah, that's we'd have to like assess with what we see currently on the A+ and the S list.
I might personally bring it back up because it's
It's such a good one.
You know, we talk about staple relics. Minus Flask is the staple.
Yes.
But moving on to a little lunchbox that was added in one of the recent updates. A nice little lunchbox for you to, when you've got full health, put any piece of food into storage. So when you get hit again, that piece of food will pop out. You've got a nice little snack. It's a common relic automatically unlocked. So anybody who purchased a game after the update has got it already. Run in with a nice little lunchbox. The best time of day is midday when the pickaxes are down and the sandwiches are up. It's alright. It's cheap. Nice. It's an adequate lunchbox. It does what it says on the tin. But you can only ever carry one piece of food. You can't carry armor. And I mean, we got used to it, I think. I think it's just nice to have sometime. And you can do some tricky stuff with it. Say you put a golden piece of food in the lunchbox and get hit, and you've got gold duplicator, then you can duplicate golden food that pops out of your lunchbox, again, for extra healing. So you can be tricky with it. You can do some funky things. But it's nothing special.
Yeah.
It's not going to win a run for you.
No.
Certainly not.
No, definitely. But this may be the difference between you going into a room, getting hit again and again, and you know that piece of food just popped out of the box and it's just sitting on the floor waiting for you, and you're trying desperately to fight through that room to get to that one piece of food, and you're down to 1 health, and you grab that ham that just dropped out of the lunchbox, and you're like, oh, I'm good. But then there are times where lunchbox goes unfood and you have no food in the lunchbox and it just goes unused and you can't build up that HP and you're not getting enough food and you can't fill the lunchbox and you're just going hungry. Yeah, so it's not perfect, but it has its purpose.
I find that purpose a little contradictory, because lunchbox, you're meant to be at full health. You have to be at full health to put food in there. But if you're needing extra food, and you're, say, not able to get it back up to full health, you'll never put anything in the lunchbox. And that food would be designed for a person who never really gets to full health. So I find the lunchbox a tiny bit contradictory in the fact that, yes, of course, a person who takes a lot of damage will at some point be at full health and get to put food in the lunchbox. But it makes it more of... It's a difficult one because it's only one piece of food, so how much is that really going to save the day? Most of the time. Of course, sometimes it will save the day and be enough to drive you forward. But another time, you'll eat the food and get hit because you're chasing that food. But with the food being popped out on the floor, could cause more of a distraction for a new player to the game. That they end up chasing the food, putting themselves in danger, trying to get that food. So I'm conflicted. I've always been conflicted about the lunchbox.
Yeah, this one is one of the... for me, if I were to just put it on a rank, this is a C+ for me. You know, does it have a benefit? Yes. Is it limited? Yes. Does it always have a benefit? No. Do you have to be at full health in order to put something in? Yes. I mean, it's such a back and forth, and it's not like every level you get your mom comes by and puts a free sandwich in your lunchbox when you go from level to level. Or when you go into the store that it's automatically going to refill. No, you've got to pay for your food to put in your lunchbox. Or you got to find it on the ground.
Yeah, I put it in the seas
So-
because Catalyst is in the seas.
Yeah.
I'd pick
I-
Catalyst pretty much exclusively over Lunchbox.
Yeah.
You know what?
I actually
agree.
rather like the lunchbox. In my experiences with the lunchbox, when they first added it into the game, I absolutely despised this thing. I thought it was a useless relic in the likes of the galoshes or the Bramble Vest. But I've grown to like this thing. It's a very good relic that synergizes with a lot of the other relics in the game. If you have the caramel popcorn, which is a combination of seasoned popcorn and golden popcorn, which we'll talk about soon enough, it can really provide some benefit where that food that you put in your lunchbox will pop out and it can oftentimes duplicate in the 3, 4, 5 different pieces of food. It also synergizes well with one of the guys that we have on the S tier, the Master Pickaxe, because if you're at full health and you get whacked and you have like a good piece of meat in your lunchbox, that piece of meat can bring you back to full health and you get to keep your master pickaxe, hopefully till when you get to the shop. This relic for me, I rather like this thing because it just synergizes well with a lot of the other basic relics I tend to pick up. I would probably put it a little bit higher than the C's. I would probably put it about the same as Whalen's boots in the B-.
Oof.
I was actually more with Suffer in that I was going to put this actually right next to Catalyst as a C, but
Meet in the middle?
Yeah, C plus. That might
Oh,
get
C+.
readdressed. I wanted to. Again, I don't think it's as bad as the Totem, but I don't think it's
Nah.
as good as Catalyst.
Mhm.
But most
Yeah.
of the other things like Mjolnir, Warpaint, and the Orb, I suppose it's because I'm possibly more offensive sometimes. Look for all sorts of sources of damage.
Mhm.
And in high summoning stones, having a little bit of food here and there, yeah, it can be life changing, but very often
Yeah.
redundant, just completely redundant. It's either the most important thing or the most useless.
I can agree with that. It can really shine, but it needs a lot of things to synergize with it.
Yeah, I'll put a C plus for now.
Yeah. I'll agree with that. All right. Moving on to something where I don't really see much of a use.
Might be
The
a quick
large
discussion.
ember.
Hmm.
Yeah. This thing will burn nearby enemies. It makes a large fiery effect around your peasant that makes him glow, or him or her glow. And it'll burn anything that you come into contact with. It's not that great. There's other sources of fire that do more fire damage. It does not cook food, which why would you want something that provides heat if it doesn't cook food? What's the point? And with enemies, you just don't want to really go close to them. You're always tending to throw at your enemies or building up a bunch of cleaves or trying to use the parabolic Vorpal arc to keep a distance from your enemies. This thing requires you to get close. It's I just don't see much of a point to this thing.
Yeah, for
Thankfully, it's not automatically unlocked, so you can just ignore it. But yeah, I just.
yeah, for an
Oftentimes I
entire
just-
relic to go
Yeah.
towards that, it feels like a bit of a waste. Although you will get benefit from burning enemies, it's not enough. It never feels like enough. You want damages from other source. Pretty much most other damage. You feel like you're getting more out of. Although setting enemies on fire has its usefulness. It's not something I ever got into, especially if you have to unlock it and you can choose not to unlock it. Just keep it on the sidelines. It's never shown me anything that I wouldn't want to pick anything else for.
You know what? So confession time. When I started playing Undermine, I continually had an issue with the flying mobs, like those little gnats and the flies that shoot at you.
Mhm.
And this was the one relic where when I got it, I knew when I walked into a room with a group of those that I would be fine because its damage range is actually pretty decent. So all I'd have to do, I knew that the amount of damage that this would tick off to those enemies was good enough to kill them within a certain period of time. This is early game I'm talking about. So it does have a purpose,
It's always had a
but it has a
purpose.
limit. Yeah, but it has a limited purpose. Like when you start getting into the higher summoning stones and the mobs are having, you know, way more health than you. I mean, way more health than you. Even the flying mobs are can be extremely dangerous. Now, granted, you can hit them with a pickaxe, or the ones that shoot just a single projectile are one hit, whether it's from a thrown pickaxe or from a swung pickaxe. The ones that do the triple throw, triple projectiles are more HP and they require more time. But this, it definitely has its limitations. Plus, if it happens to light something on fire and that something has to step into some oil and it lights you on fire, yeah, and it doesn't cook food. It's like, yeah, slamming my keyboard. I don't like it.
Yeah.
It's got too limited a use.
Yeah.
It just, I wouldn't call it a D, I'd call it a C minus.
Yeah. I was going to say it reminds me of dropping a bomb on yourself.
Yeah.
Except for now we're lighting ourselves on fire.
Listen, it's got no downsides. It's always just nice there and passive, but you have to get close to the enemy. The fire damage is pretty unimpressive to begin with. Like you're saying, at higher summoning stones, it just becomes absolutely redundant. As an unlockable relic as well, it's going to be a waste of your... It's going to make the RNG for the game worse, considering how redundant it slowly becomes. You're going to have unlocked something that has a shelf life.
Yeah.
And you don't really want that if you're climbing summoning stones.
Yeah, and I would say if you're going to run with Large Ember unlocked, absolutely pick up the Firebird and run like hell, burn everything, grab those lava boots, and have that wonderful fiery synergy. You know, that may be one way to do it, but otherwise, yeah, leave this unlocked. Don't take it. So, yeah.
It might be good in Undermine, but we're not discussing that, so...
Yeah, could be interesting for the no upgrade challenge, but I
could be,
already
actually.
completed it. So, moving on.
Yeah, to a wonderful, well-cooked popcorn. This relic will duplicate or give you the possibility of duplicating any item that is a key, a curse removal tag, or a bomb. And
Or
so
armor shards.
or armor shards, yes, thank you, because that's not weird. So when a key or a bomb pops out of something, whether it's of an enemy or whether it's from a chest or whether it drops from the heavens when you complete a room, it has the possibility of bouncing around like popcorn and giving you a second one or a third one or even 5 more of whatever that item is. And to me, this makes a lot of what Undermine kind of builds on. It makes it extremely valuable. Thoughts?
More keys, more bombs, more curse removal tags. The talismans are called. I'm in. I love this thing.
Yeah, it allows you a lot of versatility in the game to keep on building. Simple as, really. I know it's an unlockable, but within that, you're going to want to unlock it as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Functions
It
so
just-
well with other potions, the basic item duplications. Most of the other relics can be worked in combination with a good popcorn and just keeping you in good basic items. And curse removal. So wonderful.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here. What happens when you get to 99 keys, 99 bombs?
You've achieved your goal, and you should be happy that you can relax. Like,
And then you get this.
Well, if you already have full keys, full bombs, I assume you probably could ignore it, but I tend to pick it up because I might use some of them keys and bombs, and well, it's nice to get them back.
that's like the exception that proves the rule. Why it's needed in the first place. Because that would happen so
That's right.
rarely. Luckily, I managed to do a video today where I kind of did it without. No, I had item double. I just didn't do the whole bomb double with the bombs and impish key bomb tactic, which you can do for 99. But in conjunction with, I'd argue this is relatively necessary for building well and getting those higher damage runs with Keyblade. And
Yes.
keeping everything unlocked as well, so you're constantly unlocking your relics, you're constantly unlocking your shops. You can go in secret rooms whenever you want, you can keep your curse low. You can literally, the universe is your domain, and you control it, and nothing shall stop you. Hopefully.
Yeah. Don't you dare put this at an A-.
Nah.
I will come over there.
Come across the entire country to slap me.
No,
Yeah.
this is
It's a good one.
definitely an A. This is a solid A for me.
Yeah, solid A.
Yeah. It's got so much practical use. Might even be an A+ on a stretch, but I don't think it deserves it just yet. That'll be a huge stretch.
It got it's got
that would be
really
a
good
stretch.
competition in A+.
It does.
Yeah, I don't think popcorn would compare to armor.
But nicely placed in the A section. And this one, because we've got a few popcorns coming up. Well, one more today with the golden popcorn. 2 more tomorrow, but we'll get to those and we'll address the golden popcorn now. Every time a single piece of gold touches the floor, it has a chance to be duplicated, and then duplicated again, and then duplicated again. If possible, it could be duplicated up to 5-6 times. Great when you're in the very start of the game and the game demands you have money to unlock hub items, to run in the first place, to buy from shops. Gold is very tricky to obtain early on in the game. You'll be doled out a little bit of an allowance, shall we say, and you'll find it really hard to keep gold from run to run. Gold double, automatically unlocked, however, will allow you to use certain potions, certain means to be able to increase your income exponentially. Not exponentially, but at least, rapidly. And with Miner's Flask or Glycerin that are automatically unlocked, you can have a great time in producing gold. And it also synergizes with a seasoned popcorn, the food popcorn, that we'll talk about tomorrow, to form caramel popcorn for even extra benefit. And it's something that you can also create damage from. Again, the versatility of golden popcorn isn't limited to just profit. You can also make damage from it with another item we haven't got to yet, but you'll be wanting to make as much gold as possible in certain situations to be able to obtain extra damage, and golden popcorn will allow you to push that kind of strategy as far as you can go. So it's not just a simple first sight kind of strategy of, oh, we just make money from this, cool. You can extend it far beyond that. What do you guys think?
I love this popcorn, although not as much as the regular popcorn. For me, the goal or having, I agree. Early game, this thing is fantastic. I will look everywhere to find this whenever I'm starting a new save file. Just more gold income early on, fantastic. But in the later game, I more so use this for its synergies with other types of relics, like Suffer hinted to, the Gold Frenzy, the Pilfer's Ring, and even the Season Popcorn, which we'll talk about in the next video. But yeah, for me, it's still really good, but I don't think it's as good as the regular popcorn.
Yeah, no, for me, this is as I've expanded my experience in Undermine and I've developed my certain playstyle and my understanding of all the relics and the synergies that they contain. I have to be honest. If this was not already unlocked, I would not unlock this because my goal in the game is to try to get to the highest level of summoning stones that I can possibly get and still have a real good time with the game. And for me, this one lost its benefit at about summoning stone 50
Uh,
because in early summoning stone levels, it's a matter of getting that gold and building up your character and making those accomplishments and trying to get to 999,999 gold, and the feeling that when you get there you're like, oh, I'm rich, I don't have to worry about gold for a long time. And then you have to deal with this one popping up and you're like, do I really need it? I mean, before summoning stone 50 or even up to it, there's a really good synergy between this and damage items. Being able to take a gold potion into a boss and then picking up all the gold and then producing so much damage that, you can kill the boss pretty quickly. Now, can that be done even now in the higher summoning stones into 100s? Yes, it can. But yeah, this is kind of a mixed bag for me. I don't think it's an amazing relic. I think I think it has its usage, but I think its usage for me and my playstyle was limited, and now it's like, yeah, not so much.
with the inclusion of ferocity, I'd have to disagree that it loses relevance. Possibly playstyle to playstyle, it does. But I'd disagree that it loses relevance the highest summoning stone you get. With introduction of
Mhm.
ferocity, you get an increase critical damage. Now, if you're gaining in a boss fight gold, which gives you one extra point of damage for every single point of gold, and if you got an oglycerin potion, the amount of individual bits of gold you get are incredible. It's in the hundreds, so that's 100. I know it's for a short period of time for the extra damage, but with the ferocity engaged as well, you end up multiplying that damage beyond the initial numbers you get from the single pieces of gold. That's where the
Mhm.
value is, and I think that stretches far beyond what you might have been suggesting, Headwound. And again, it might
So
be
do
playstyle to playstyle, but I see a lot more value in keeping it on the roster, as well as for transmutation purposes, because then you get caramel popcorn, then you can make gold food, and
Mhm.
that can duplicate, so you can get more healing as well to transmutate more, which means better RNG building.
Yeah. Yeah, for me it's a gateway relic to other really good things. For that, I'd probably put it somewhere about B plus. Kind of like the duplicator. It can really help you out, but eh, sometimes
yeah.
just by itself it's kind of okay. It's just okay. Some more gold, cool. More pilfers, gotta hug them, gotta love them.
Yeah, so that's actually a very good point that you just made in why I don't want to see this in the A. Because if this is the only relic that you have and you don't have another one called Pilfer's Gift, or Pilfer's Ring, I'm sorry, which sucks in the gold to you, this could create a lot of noise if you or a, an enemy breaks gold, and then now you have this massive amount of gold and you got all these pilfers running into the room, blocking your ability to hit the enemy. That to me is, I mean, it's a risk reward situation, I guess, in that kind of scenario, but
Have we
a B
really
plus,
talked about? Have we really talked about the gold double and conductor in rooms? With the gold doubling, the extra safe damage you can get from knocking off some gold, sparking and weakening the enemies as you go into it, is magnified by gold double in the popcorn, which you get conductor. I believe it's an automatic unlock.
An automatic unlock, correct?
So
I
from
always
the very
forget
start of
about
the game,
conductor.
you've got that potential, and you've always got that in your back pocket. You can always go to in a run.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's.
So
I'm looking at Cleaver, and it's stopping me trying to put it in the A's because I really want to.
yeah.
Yeah.
And Gold Frenzy, Conductor, and Pilfer Ring are all unlocked with the game. So there's a really good synergy between those relics and the golden popcorn. Is it a solid B plus for me? Yes, I think it's a solid B plus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For
I'd
me,
stick with that until. Sorry, go on, Priskip.
Yeah, for me, I would stick it in B plus because it's a type of relic that just synergizes with a lot of other relics, but on its own, it's kind of just meh unless you're early game.
See, I want to put it in A minus for its early game activity.
Hmm.
And the fact it never gets, in my opinion, irrelevant. But I'll leave it at B plus for now, since that's the consensus. Until any other time as which I feel like bringing it up. But for today, I believe that will end the discussions there. I think B plus is an adequate place for it right now. But if you've got any questions about the tier list, got any thoughts of your own, whether we've made some right or wrong decisions here today, let us know in the comments section. Priskip, thank you very much, sir.
Yep.
Headwound, likewise to yourself, brother.
Looking forward to the next 9.
Oh, same here, man. Again, this little monster we're creating, this little table, it's growing. There's some controversial decisions made already, maybe not. Maybe everything's exactly in the place it needs to be, but until next time, I've been Suffer of Let's Suffer Together. If you like the content, always consider liking, subscribing, and following, and doing all that condescending shit I always tell you to do. And make sure you go also check out Headwound's channel on Twitch and YouTube. With Undermine becoming a full game on August the 8th, you're going to be wanting all the Undermine content you can get, and Headwound is certainly a great and recommended source of Undermine content. You heard it here. Go follow right now. But until next time, my friends, you take it easy. I'll catch up with you soon. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you all in the next tier list video. See you later, guys.
Bye.
See you next time.